Well, look at that. I think we actually started on time. Yeah, it won't happen ever again. I apologize. Good morning.
Lies and slander.
I have to verify it. Let's check it with evidence. Were we on time? Time check.
Time check. What time is it? It's 2 where I am.
It really is, huh? Yeah, so it's not even morning for you. It's like we're having coffee time in the morning for me, but it's not technically morning for you, but whatever.
I stayed up really late, so I actually only did get up like an hour or so ago.
I actually went back to sleep, too. I got up. I was having weird dreams. I was having a sex dream about you. It was weird because I was dreaming about you, but we weren't having sex. So I don't get it. It's just, you know.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Isn't it weird? Yeah. No, I did actually have a weird dream. It had nothing to do with you, but I woke up about 5 minutes before my alarm, and I was like, "Where am I?" Don't you hate that when you're like,
"Oh yeah."
Yeah, you're not quite sure.
Are you sure the dream wasn't about that cheerleading goblin cow?
Well, it might have been. It was pretty weird. Yeah, definitely. But man, morning. First of all, morning, everybody. We got our caffeine. As you can tell, we've already been inebriated from it. We are wired, ready to go because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I think that this might be either a really long episode or a really short, boring episode. It could go either way, but most of them are like that, right?
Oh my God, this one is. My God, there's so much that's just gone on. I do have an "Am I the Asshole" ready for us if we want it, but there's a lot to cover.
Oh, we got to do that. Yeah.
All right.
We got to know if you're an asshole. Yes.
Yeah.
Am I an asshole? Yes.
Am I an asshole or am I the asshole? So, am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she looked like an escort? Good start.
Love it already, right?
I, 32-year-old man, have been dating this amazing woman, 24-year-old female, for just under a year. I know there's a little bit of an age difference, but that hasn't been a problem for us yet. Last week was my birthday, and we decided to go out for dinner at a steakhouse. My favorite food is steak. Thanks for telling us that. This wasn't an upscale steakhouse like Mastro's. Think more along the lines of a casual franchise chain steakhouse. The plan was to meet up after I got off of work. I had worked a 10-hour day and was still in work clothes, jeans, button-down shirt. My girlfriend wanted to look good for me, so she spent about 2 to 3 hours getting ready. She had her hair done, full makeup, tight black dress, heels, the whole 9 yards.
It's working for me. It's working.
I get where she's coming from. She wanted to surprise me and look like a bombshell, but the entire evening I felt uncomfortable. The way I was dressed and the way she was dressed, I noticed other people giving us looks, probably because it looked like I was with a hired escort. I felt uncomfortable and embarrassed the entire dinner. I didn't say anything that night, but a few days later, when I saw my girlfriend next, I told her, I said she made me feel uncomfortable and that she made me feel like I had an escort with me. I didn't tell her this to try and hurt her feelings. I told her because I need to be honest and upfront, and because I didn't want her doing it again. I told her that there was 1,000 reasons why I love her and that her looks are only one of them. She has much more to offer than just that. She said she has been very upset the last few days. I don't think this is going to be one of those things that just blows over. Am I the asshole?
Yes. And let me explain why. As a man, which I kind of generally qualify as. Okay, first of all, if I'm out with a really hot, sexy woman that's all dressed up and look like a hooker, I'm thinking to myself, you know what, bitches, I can afford this. You know? So I don't have a problem with it. Matter of fact, I actually enjoy having hot-looking women on my arm, whether they look like an escort or not. I don't give a shit. I had a girl named Marie who I took to Vegas one time. She was decked out to the nines in this really sexy, hot blue tight dress, right? We went to a comedy club, and I was thinking the entire time, everybody here probably thinks that I have literally paid for this woman, even though she was like my girlfriend for like 2 years. And the comic actually even noticed, and he started talking to us, right? And she's one of those people who can banter, so she was giving it, so she gave it right back to him. But I was like, yeah, hey, I even was kidding around. I was like, so what, you know? I was like, so I think he's just being an asshole.
The thing is like, one, he's assuming why these people are looking at him.
That's true too. Might have been she's just hot. Yeah.
Maybe she's just hot and they're looking at her.
Yeah.
Right? Why are you assuming did anybody come up to you? No? You just noticed people were looking in your direction while you were there and you felt like a schlub, so you're like, fuck you, girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't, exactly.
Look worse than me.
he's assuming that they're looking at them because for some reason they were judging him rather than admiring her. Now, even if that's the case, who gives a shit? I like I said, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, I have an escort on my arm, and she's hot. Cope with it. Deal. Why is that negative? I don't get it.
I don't even think you would make that assumption anyway.
No. I wouldn't, but other people would.
Well, obviously. This guy seems to think that his girlfriend, like, however his girlfriend's dressed is going to be relayed directly onto him, when it might have, like, he's assuming that other people are going to be thinking about him when they're looking at his girlfriend, when it's like, you ever think maybe they're just thinking about her and nobody gives a shit about you?
It's a little egocentric, I think.
It is a little bit. That's one of the things that I noticed when he says he decides to tell everybody that his favorite food is steak. That is not relevant and nobody cares.
Yeah, as somebody pointed out in the live chat, they're thinking, hey, you know what? I'm hitting this tonight. You're not. Giggity. So yeah, I think he's being a bit of an asshole, and I think he probably should have looked at it from a different perspective altogether. I mean, I don't mind the fact that he was talking to her and telling her the honesty, but sometimes honesty is a little bit much. You shouldn't be so honesty to the point where hurt her feelings, but
I agree, but that comes down to how you approach the situation. Somebody in the comment sections of the thread said, "You're the asshole. There are different choices to make when phrasing how you feel in a situation.
Very
Babe, you look smoking. Example. Babe, you look smoking hot last night. I felt a bit uncomfortable and underdressed. Gee, I wish I had had the time to dress up too. Thanks for making an effort."
Yeah, that's that. She would have loved that, probably, right?
Yeah.
You know,
as a bloke with a hot wife and a face like a smashed crab, I like the fact that people think I'm punching above my weight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. Like I said, I maybe I think differently. I like being seen with a good-looking woman. I don't take umbrage if somebody thinks I paid for it or not. I don't care.
Listen, if your self-esteem is too low to think that you shouldn't be with the girl you're with, you need to work on yourself. She doesn't need to change the way she looks.
Yeah, it's almost like a fantasy of mine. I'll walk in, see a hot chick at a bar, and walk up and just start, well, how much? Even though like I've dated her for 2 years or something, just think that, hey, I get this for free. We negotiate down. We start off with a price and negotiate down for nothing just because she likes me.
Oh, there you go.
Although, by the way, you always pay for sex in some way. It's never free. It doesn't matter how long you've been with somebody. It's never free. You pay. You will always pay. It's just the way it is. Either whether it be emotional, whether it be psychological baggage, you're gonna pay for it one or another. Was that misogynistic? But it's true.
Well, the thing is that goes both ways, because it's not like the women don't pay for the men too. This is like it's just using the phrase "paying" makes it sound negative. It's like he's got a negative connotation for it. It's like, oh, you have to pay to be in a relationship. It's like, well, yeah, relationships are fucking work. Right.
That's a very good point. It's not just man paying for it; she pays for it too, man. By the way, for a lot of men out there that may not realize this, women happen to enjoy sex. Don't think that they It's a two-way thing, especially when it's supposed to be good. And so I see a lot of people that think that for some reason, like women, are just uninterested in sex. Then you ain't doing it right.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, you're doing it absolutely wrong. Women are interested in sex. Like, you're going to get a handful of people that aren't. Now, they might not be interested in sex with you.
Yeah, that's the story of my life. I didn't say they had to be with me, but...
Ozzy,
Can you read the super chats? Because I'm still my contacts I haven't fully got used to yet.
Still getting used to them, yeah. $50 Australian. Steve, this is for extra scotch during rum and coke after having to put up with Fiage the other day. Oh, it's Flat Earthology Jesus.
Oh, Flat Earthology Jesus. Oh, okay. Yeah, small letters. That's why.
God.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna need that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Real quick recap. I was on Fight the Flat Earth, and I did not know it was going to be Fight the Flat Jesus on until literally about 2 minutes before, because I had asked him who it was, and he had told me, but I didn't check my messages. And when I checked my messages to see if he had ready to go on air yet, I was like, crap, it was him. And I had a headache. I was tired. I really wasn't in the mood for his bullshit. Plus, it was the final showdown. He wasn't coming back, supposedly. I was like, I'm just going to go nuts on this guy. I was so. And by the way, he's not even welcome around the live chat any longer, because I think he does have mental issues. And he doesn't even need to be around the live chat. Let him go into obscurity and hopefully get the help he needs. So, all right.
Little Miss Betty Page makes a good point. Hey, Steve, Chesh, speak for yourselves. I'm a celibate cat lady nun, honestly. That's fair. Not every woman is interested in sex. Yeah. I will concede that.
And by the it's been so long for me, man. I gotta next time I have it, I gotta like read a book on it, make sure nothing's changed. Somebody actually sent me a video, some clip to Pornhub. It says this is the way it's supposed to be in case it needs a journey memory. I'm like, thanks, So you forget shit, man. But I didn't understand. Do I have to buy the pizza? Or is that how it works? I don't. It was really confusing how all this really works. But who pays for the pizza?
Yeah, puzzle pieces kind of just.
They never tell you who pays for the pizza.
Steven Steen, $2 US. Quote: Kyle was right. Dash quickly dwindling list of people.
We will touch on this a little bit. Yep. Thank you, Steven.
We will be getting there.
All right, so I might as well dive into it, I guess.
And as usual, we're going backwards from the itinerary.
Yeah, we are going backwards. I added one more thing on here that I don't think Chesh saw, or I don't know if it updated. It didn't, I guess. All right, well, you know what? We won't get into it. We'll start with number 4, I guess. I added 5, but real quick, but it didn't seem to update. And that was basically, real quick, I had actually challenged Cosmic Skeptic to a discussion. Not challenged, but I wanted to have a conversation with Cosmic Skeptic. He had posted a link to a video that he had with Richard Dawkins. And it was 3 minutes long. It was part of a larger one that I didn't watch, but I watched the 3-minute one, and I happen to agree with Dawkins for a change, which, by the way, is rare. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of him from a philosophical point of view, but he was right on this, I think. But I think that Alex was making some bad arguments, and I was hoping to get a hold of him and actually see if he wants to come on and have a talk about it. So we'll discuss that another time, because if not, it's going to drag this one down to what the topic was. But I wanted to throw that out there that if you see Cosmic Skeptic around anywhere, have him come talk to me. I want to have a conversation with him.
Bizmaster Studios for $5 Australian says, this is for a new pair of glass. Oh, fuck. No one tells me anything.
Yeah, like I said, I like the contacts. It's just it's sucky because the live chat is at the right optimal or inoptimal position where I have to squint to actually read it. So. And I think that I've been having headaches lately, and I honestly do think they're cluster headaches from staring at monitors a lot. When I went to the optometrist, I had that discussion, and that's just why she wanted to have one lens, one strength, and one lens, another strength. Hopefully, not have such eye strain. But I do think a lot of my cluster headaches I've had lately is because I'm staring at screens.
Yeah, that happens. You need to be able to give your eyes a break and walk around, and because your living space is so small, you're kind of cloistered a little bit.
And she told me not to watch porn like this close.
Oh.
Who knew?
Oh, no wonder you're confused about how it works. You're sitting too close. You can't see anything else.
I'm like, I think that's a nipple. What do I do with that? Okay. But anyway, so let's kind of dive into our caffeine corner subjects.
Oh, yeah. Nobody's saying don't like Cosmic Skeptic. It's just there are differences of opinion, and we think that would be an interesting discussion to have with them.
Oh, I love Alex. No, Alex is amazing. I have no ill will for Cosmic Skeptic whatsoever. I just think he had a bad argument to Dawkins, and I think that I could suss out that a little bit more in real time with him. That's all.
The Yoshis fell on the floor while I was putting the thing up, so the window doesn't come right into the camera, but they're here.
All right, so let's start with number 4 here. David Silverman, Dusty Smith, Matt Dillahunty, Threesomes 101. Jesse,
this is your area.
Well, it's not okay. Here's the thing: I don't know much about the situations beyond what I've been told recently and prior. I knew that there was some drama going on. I knew that there was some weird sex shit going on long before this broke. But I was sworn to secrecy, and so I didn't say anything to anybody, of course. But it seems like, in a nutshell, David, Matt Dillahunty, and his wife Beth had some polyamorous type of relationships. I guess Dave took it too far, violated some safe words, things of that nature. Now, I'm not going to judge any of them. I told David, hey, you know what? You need to stand up for yourself. If you think you're in the clear, fight for it, man. Because we've all been in situations where we've been unjustly accused of things, clearly. And Dusty Smith did a video on it. I watched some of it. He seemed to make some good points. Matt Dillahunty from what I understand, is under a gag order, so he can't say anything about anything. But it's a really bizarre type situation. But again, to me, this is a lot of their private stuff, and the only reason I think that people are making an issue about it because the private stuff happened to carry over to American Atheist, leading to the removal of David Silverman from American Atheist, and he's pretty bitter about that, I think. So. That's it in a nutshell.
Well, yeah, especially if he's maintaining that like this isn't the case, this isn't how it happened. Then it sucks when you're stuck in that position because even they have to think about themselves as a group, and even if he's innocent, having that name attached to the group could be problematic. So they might have to distance themselves from him either way, whether he did it or not. It's like that's not necessarily relevant to his innocence, right?
Right.
Or whatever the situation may be.
Yeah, no, and I think there's some truth to that there's reasons why they distance themselves. However, the stories are all over the place. I don't know who to believe, to be honest with you.
Well, I know Dusty ages ago came out with a video where he was complaining about that type of situation that included him.
Well, didn't Beth hit on him or something at a convention or somewhere?
Beth supposedly hit on him at a convention, and Matt was a dick to him after the fact, and so he was like, your wife was trying to fuck me, and now he came out and apologized and was like, you know what, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have said it that way, da, 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 da. However, I don't recall if he actually retracted that. Now, he might have said that maybe I misread the situation, which is possible, but if you've got that kind of polyamorous situation going on, if there aren't rules and clear boundaries set in who's doing what with whom and who's okay with what, it's really easy for this kind of confusion to happen. So something simply that, like, if Dusty completely innocent in this situation could easily get confused. So what's to say that it couldn't happen to anybody else?
And that's why,
even to more an extreme point, right?
Yeah, and that's why people, I think, are giving people the benefit of the doubt till they hear more about it. And I am as well. I cannot weigh on this, to be honest with you. So what we're going to do on this, people, is we decided that we're going to leave this for a future episode when we get more data out of it. I plan to have a discussion with Dusty at some point, maybe. I've reached out to David as well. I mean, believe it or not, this is going to sound weird, but out of all the prominent atheists, I probably respect David more than any of them, even though I disagree with him immensely. But he's never blocked me. He's never disrespected me. He's always been casual and had conversations with me. I appreciate that, and that's what I told him. I said, I may disagree with you on this, Dave, or on your beliefs and everything, Dave. But you know what? On this, fight for it, man. So.
Godless Scummer is asking us, what do we think of the claims that Matt Dillahunty is pressuring atheist channels not to platform Silverman?
Behind the scenes, I completely think it's possible. I don't have any firsthand information of that, but I can definitely see it possible.
And let's do hypotheticals. If he was doing this, we're not saying he is. If he was doing that, what would you think about it?
I would consider that cancel culture, and I would think that unless there's a reason to pressure channels not to have him, like for example, if he was actually sexually dangerous, right?
Yeah,
but,
so like the Vic Mignogna situation where people are concerned that he is actually dangerous, and so they're pressuring conventions not to host him because they don't want to go to the convention where, as far as they're concerned, they're going to be in danger.
Yeah, I could get that, but see, the problem is that is a high bar to meet. If not, you're just throwing these accusations out, right?
Yeah.
So
right. So essentially, we would say at this point there isn't enough information to justify that kind of behavior to pressure somebody to not be around, because there isn't enough information for us to definitively say that yes, this guy is sexually dangerous.
Yeah, I didn't know either that these atheist conventions were all just covers for massive orgies. News to me. I probably would have converted to atheism a long time ago if that was the case. They could have convinced me.
Oh my God, the Christians have been right the entire time. It is just because atheists love sin. God damn.
Somebody asked, why cancel culture? Well,
I'm converted.
Cancel culture is literally the deplatforming of people, the calling out of people to say, hey, this person shouldn't be on your channel, this person shouldn't have this platform, the excising them from communities. That is all part of cancel culture. Look what happened when people, just to do a simple tweet, and some of the tweets were from a decade ago and they got fired from their job. That's cancel culture. Matter of fact, to tell you, I know a lot of people may not like this because they're not fans of Ian, but go read Ian Cho's latest blog that he wrote on Hypebreak. He wrote a blog just recently on cancel culture, and it was freaking pretty good. I think he really nailed exactly what the atmosphere is like with cancel culture and how anyone that has a social media can get fired just for saying something and be taken out of context. Even comedians who make an off-color joke, which they're paid to do, it's cancel culture.
What's the name of the blog? What's the name of the blog?
Well, his thing is Hype Break, but I don't remember. I don't know if that's actually the blog thing or not. You can go to his Twitter, and then find the last one that he did. I retweeted it too, so he made me read.
I'll try and find it.
All right, but
I'll see if I can find it. And real
really
quickly, I just want to address in the chat. Yeah, I'm not saying that about Vic. I'm saying that people feel like this, therefore that's how they're reacting. Not that what he has or hasn't done is whatever. That's just an example,
right,
of that happening.
And as Bullinator, the wonderful Bullinator, the one of the greatest producers ever to walk the face of the earth. He says it's a great segue to number 3, and I agree. So let's dive into this one. Fiona Robertson, Gary Hall, and xxxlid, which I don't know how to pronounce her name because I've never talked to her.
I do believe it's pronounced exiled.
Exiled? Is that what it is? I don't know.
I think.
Oh, well, yeah, because her handle is Generation Exiled or something. Okay, that makes sense. I've never had a conversation with her offside Twitter, whatever. But this is Rape Apologetics 101. Go! This is yours.
Oh my god. All right.
By the way, FYI, Cheshire's now part of the club. She is officially a rape apologist, people. Oh.
Yeah, apparently I'm a rape apologist now. I don't know where that came from, but okay.
Well, I think it was Gary Hall that actually wasn't it? That's where it came from?
it was one of the it was either like one of the Agrippa sock accounts or
okay, one of them. Yes, right. It wasn't Gary.
It was one of the troll accounts. It wasn't actually. I don't want to listen. Gary said some dumb shit. We don't need to give him extra dumb shit.
Fair enough. So people that may not know what's going on, give the little backstory and tell them because they know the David Silverman stuff. So
all right. So the stuff going on with this rape apologist garbage. Steve hosted, and I was there also. I was late because somebody didn't send me the link. News Now Houston, who is a registered and convicted felon for rape. Now he spent 10 months and spent 10 months in jail and was on probation afterwards, and this was about 20 years ago. Other things have happened with him and the police since then, but that's neither here nor there to the point of this rape issue. Steve hosted it on the show. People got pissy that he was hosted on the show. The show was about police auditing, so it had nothing to do with his past convictions. So a bunch of people got mad saying that he shouldn't be hosting him and that, in fact, hosting him is rape apologetics. Fiona Robertson made a video called Steve McRae, Rape Apologist 101, in which she failed completely to demonstrate that this was, in fact, the case.
Miserably so.
Miserably. This was not even, it was so poorly done. She was saying something and the screenshots didn't show what she was saying, or she was saying something and the screenshots she was showing countered what she was saying. It was bizarre. I think it's almost like she was hedging her bets that people weren't going to read what the screenshots actually said.
Now, I didn't watch the full video, but I did watch clips, and the clips that I saw were like, what the hell? That was when Reds made a video on it.
Yeah, so so Reds made a video on it where he addressed her claims about and addressed the video, and the video is in there. The only parts that are cut out of Fiona's original video is the story and the up until this point for News Now Houston, because that's not what the response was about.
Right.
So that part, that's the first 6 or so minutes of Fiona's video is cut out because it's not important to whether or not Steve is a rape apologist. So that video came out. Shit then hit the fan because exiled, somebody named Heretic, whom I'm not familiar with, and a couple other people have been mirroring and putting out videos that are debunked by the calumny and obloquy videos, and they're on Twitter freaking the fuck out, calling Steve a rape apologist, and everybody's like, "Bishware."
And this has been a week now, and this has been a week. This has been a week, and I even broke some of my silence with certain people that I really never wanted to talk to again, just to explain to them how just fucking stupid they were acting. And I needed to say it, but it's so funny because none of them at any time made a cogent argument about anybody being a rape apologist. Matter of fact, God pointed out in the live chat that somebody else has called him a rape apologist. Right, this term is thrown around just ubiquitously to anybody who disagrees with somebody, but they never explain why you're a rape apologist, because rape apologist requires very specific things, mostly along the lines of you being an apologist by saying things like, "Oh, she deserved it. Do you see the way she was dressed? You know what? She really wanted it. You know, that these things are rape apologists because you're blaming the victim, right? Nothing I've ever said blame the victim. The story behind the events that took place, there's some questionable stuff.
Steve platformed Kent Hovind. He's a tax evasion apologist.
Yeah, well, I had a partner that was convicted of breaking and entering a church and cocaine possession. Am I a breaking and entering church apologist? Am I a cocaine apologist? I mean, to apply certain logic to people is just impossible.
Well, so the interesting, one of the things that I found was so ass backwards about this was that they were then claiming that if you even just hosted this person, it was rape apologist. But they were trying to have a conversation with you and Reds, whom by their logic would be rape apologists,
right.
And therefore they'd be platforming you, which would therefore then make them rape apologists.
Yeah, it's just like
you're a rape apologist, and they're a rape apologist. Everybody's a rape apologist.
It's like a transitivity thing. A equals B, B equals C, A equals C. So therefore, if I host somebody and they host me and I host Chesh and Chesh hosts Reds, whatever, everybody's a rape apologist for you and a rape apologist for you, and hey, there's a rape apologist. And it's so funny because this is the group, again, that people may know, I left years ago for this very thing. This is what they did. They would run narratives. They would spin things. They would do things for drama. I didn't want to be a part of it. I saw them do this to other people, and I thought it was vile. Even people that I didn't like Ronnie, Rocket Ronnie, a.k.a. Drew Pearson. I'm not a fan of him. But I've seen them make shit up or go after him for things like, where he worked, where he lived, his income, his personal facial features. I'm not into any of that stuff. And I see them actually, when Ronnie would make a good point, they would just ignore it. And I'm like, he's right on this. You guys can't just, say he's not. And so I'm willing to make those concessions because I'm a pretty honorable guy. Well, I got flack for that. And I'm like, okay, these people are pretty morbid. And I saw the way they did to G-Man. I saw what they did to other people. And I'm like, I want nothing to do with them. But this is indicative of their style, and so it's just like I know people are not taking them seriously, especially when you start saying Cheshire is a rape apologist. I mean,
how did I get lumped into that? Well, here's the thing: what they're doing is actually harmful, and it's harmful to people who are victims. But you've got Gary in here at this point. It took him about 3 days before he started saying, "Oh, the victim, oh, the victim, oh, the victim," and it's like you're trying to use the victim to elicit an emotional response. Yes. You're taking somebody's traumatic experience and twisting it to slander somebody completely unrelated to the event. How in the flying fuck do you think you're the good guy here?
I thought it was pretty vile, actually. I mean, when you're using the victim, which was never mentioned anything, right?
Yeah, at no point.
At no point was the victim brought in.
Is irrelevant.
It is irrelevant.
Like they're not that person. Whoever that happened to, their pain is not relevant to whether or not Steve is apologizing for rape.
Right.
You don't need to bring them into this. You don't have to defend them from anything because they're not being attacked in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's completely irrelevant to the discussion. There's arguments.
Well, you know it's completely irrelevant because it took them 3 days to get here, and the whole time
because they had nothing else.
Time I was talking about this.
They had nothing else. You and Reds and other people had burned them to the ground, and saying, "Hey, you have to demonstrate this. Give reasons why." Steve's a rape apologist, and they had no reasons whatsoever. And by the way, every one of these people calling me a rape apologist, they're all from the same group. What does that tell you? There's obviously agenda here, and people in the live chat that have been around for a while, they know what I'm talking about. This is not me being paranoid. This is not me making shit up. This is just facts.
And they're actively harming victims. They're in doing this that by claiming Steve is a rape apologist or claiming I'm a rape apologist, they're actively harming any argument to be made to somebody who actually is a rape apologist.
Right, and by the way, sorry.
They're poisoning the well, essentially.
Godless Scammer, by the way, Godless Scammer uses the term godless, but he's one of he's not one of those other godless people that uses the name that just are the most irrational people on the planet. I have to point that every time because I usually say, for some reason, if you got godless in your name, you usually don't know shit about reason. He's okay, though, so he gets an exception. But
exception proves the rule.
Exactly. You have too many. If you have too many exceptions, it becomes the rule. He says Gary excused Steve of not working for a living when he was out of arguments, which is true, which is kind of funny because I tried to explain to Gary, I got a 1099 form, and a 1099 form is a subcontract form that you get for doing work. He didn't seem to understand that concept that what we do on YouTube is work. This is my full-time job. It is work. I get paid for it. from Google.
Yep. And let's not forget that Gary also only showed up on Twitter after he spoke with Reds live in a hangout and just got his ass beat, then came to Twitter to be like, I tried to talk sense into him, and everybody just responded to Gary with, you tried and you failed.
That's a good point, because first of all, I haven't talked to Gary in, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years maybe. It's been a long while. Now, I was never that close to Gary. I never really had any issues with Gary, to be honest with you. I just thought he was incapable of most critical thinking. He was never good at it. He was the kind of the foil that, or foible actually, I should say probably, that was in discussions that would say dumb things that people would kind of go, huh, let's fix this shit kind of thing, right? But this is the first time he's ever actually came after me, especially because I haven't talked to the guy in ages. But like, for example, he claims to be a literary critic. He's nonsensical most of the time. He's incoherent. So we have to parse out what he's saying.
Yeah.
But his arguments are so bad that when he came to the discussion or on Twitter, and he was just like, well, I tried to talk sense to Reds for hours, and he wasn't having any of it. And everybody's like, dude, you made an ass out of yourself. Reds pile drived you into the ground, and you think you came out a winner on this. How does this happen?
I'm willing to put money down to think that, like, this is my assessment. It's an educated guess, let's say, that because Reds doesn't host, like, Reds doesn't keep those hangouts public, they're still there. He assumed that they just disappeared.
No, it's just
that video
unlisted.
Is still there.
Yeah.
You can go watch. I will link it in the chat if you guys would like to see. It's
hilarious.
Link
in the chat. I'll even put it in the video description when we're done with this. Sure.
Okay, real quick, here is the I linked it. This is the third time I've linked it now. This is the blog you were talking about.
Okay, so let me clarify. I usually don't like linking unlisted videos, and the reason for that, people usually enlisted for a reason, and I don't like disseminating unlisted links. However, Red said this is fine.
Yeah, we've already got permission to share.
So I just want to throw that out there, because I'm not a big fan of disseminating unlisted links, but whatever.
Yeah, no, this one's unlisted, not for privacy reasons. This one's unlisted for algorithmic reasons. So linking this one around is totally fine if you would like to.
Now, somebody had left a comment on one of my videos, and he made a really good point. By the way, I do try to read every comment. I may not get to them all, but I do try to read every comment. And this one actually made a lot of sense. They asked us to kind of explain in detail a little bit more some of these things that have happened, because not everybody kind of knows the backstory. And so make sure that we do that. If you're not understanding something, or you think that we kind of didn't explain some of the backstory stuff, let us know, because we want people to understand when they watch this video later on what actually transpired. Because
somebody did ask why these people are after you, Steve, and I think
I'm
you already
dick.
mentioned earlier, it's because you left.
Yeah,
he was part of this group, and he left and has been.
God forbid we should leave. Yeah, in a nutshell, I wanted to do science. I wanted to do philosophy. I wanted to do more educational type stuff. They wanted to sit around and just talk shit about people. I wasn't interested in that. They were just not good people. And they did some horrific things to me, to Reds, and some other people. And I was told by a dear friend of mine, Steve, your best thing you could do is just move on and be successful and put them in your rearview mirror. I've done that. However, for a year and a half now, 2 years, they have constantly been obsessed by me, which is fine. It's done nothing but raise my numbers.
You always know these are the same. Okay, these people have started getting backed up by King Keon. You know you're on the winning side when
Derek
Keon's
Raw.
like, I'm gonna come to save the day.
Yeah, go. We're gonna get Steve did the. It got so bad. It got so bad. This is the funniest thing. And by the way, if people in the live chat have known about the situation, all you got to do is say, Steve's right on this, and you don't have to go into details, but I am correct. But there was one person who actually said, well, Steve didn't leave us. We left him. And I'm like, you sound like a jilted ex-lover. Steve didn't leave me. We left him.
Yeah. Well, my favorite part
Really?
of that is somebody pointed out in that thread that that's different from the other half of that group telling a completely different story. So which is it, guys?
Yeah, some of that it's hit or miss who you asked in that little groups. But
Yeah.
but anybody that knows me, has been around, knows that I completely distance myself from them. I have for years. I don't even mention a few of their names ever anymore. I won't even say their
Realistically,
names.
at that point, that argument doesn't even fly anyway, because you would have to be able to demonstrate that you were correct in your perception of what Steve did. Okay,
but I even told him, go ahead, think that you left me. I don't care. Why does it matter to me? Sure, believe what you want. That to me is irrelevant. I wanted to get away from them. It was, I mean, like an abusive ex.
Well, that's the thing. And that's the thing. So if they wanted to demonstrate that they in fact left you behind or whatever, as if it mattered, then how would you demonstrate that you knew that Steve wasn't thinking about leaving months beforehand?
Well,
this is a no-win argument, because it's just going to be, well, I perceive it this way, and you can't demonstrate one way or the other.
I can demonstrate.
And who cares?
I can demonstrate it using some reason.
You can,
because
this motherfucker over here just got a screenshot.
Yeah, I have screenshots of people telling me to leave the group, but to get rid of these people. But that won't show this. But what I do have is reason. When we started the Non Sequitur show, Kyle and I actually had discussed, what are we going to do about these people? We don't want them around. And yet later on, he started actually platforming some of them or being buddy-buddy with them, go figure. But we actually discussed this because we were like, we want nothing to do with these people. Are they going to be an issue? And I said, I don't give a fuck whether they are or not. No skin off my nose. They can do what the hell they want, but they're not going to be ever on the show. They're not going to be in the live chat. I want to have no contact with them. And I assured him of this. So...
Yep. And the thing is that you don't, it's been how long since these people have even come up
years.
on your chat or by name at all? They don't.
They don't. I haven't mentioned their names in ages.
Yeah. Because so that's why there's a handful of people in the confused. People are asking well, who is this group? It's an old G+ group.
Yeah. And the thing is that they only want attention. They only want my attention. And I don't watch any of their videos. They make videos about me, which is fine. You can go search for them. I don't give a shit. Find out who they are. Go play with them. Go have drinks with them. I don't care. But I have nothing to do with them personally. I don't watch their things. They have no effect on my life. I'm being relatively successful. They've decided to keep their channels talking shit. Go ahead. But Reds and I wanted to move on. He's doing extremely successful. They're butthurt. I think they're more mad at Reds than they are me, but they're taking it out on me for whatever reason, which is fine. Again, it just helps my numbers.
Maybe you're an easier target.
Because I don't care. Well, I don't think Reds does either, actually, so I guess that doesn't matter. But anyways, that's the backstory on that. Yeah, the big schism was 2 years ago. Bullinator was there. He knows all about it. What are you going to do?
Well, the thing is that it's a little bit amusing because now they're trying to call me a rape apologist because they literally have nothing on me because believe it or not, I actually did join the grape community G+ when it existed. It was near the tail end, and there was just a lot there, so I couldn't really catch up or figure out what the fuck was going on most of the time. And I was working, and I had too much going on, so I wasn't really able to involve myself at all. So I honestly am completely outside of this situation. So player 3 has entered the game, motherfuckers. What are you gonna do? Yeah, shit on me.
and she wasn't even known back then. I kept her a secret on Twitter for quite some time, but she wanted to actually have a voice, and I was like, okay, fine. And then she actually had shit to say. Fine. She actually had shit to say. People liked her, and it worked out fine. But anyways, that's that story in a nutshell. So basically, a group of people going around trying to say I'm a rape apologist, she's a rape apologist. They failed miserably.
Yeah, I was around Discord a lot. Yeah.
So
who knows? Who knows? I was around Discord for quite a bit.
But we've.
So what's our next one?
All right, so this goes into let's move on to number 2 here. Yeah, again, thank you. I don't want to spend too much time on these people because again.
Side note, really quick, just before we move on.
Yeah.
Anybody who has made videos at this point that are trying to counteract Red's obloquy calumny video, there's I'm very sure, and this
calumny obloquy.
Calumny and obloquy.
Yeah.
I may or may not be able to say with some amount of certainty that possibly Reds would absolutely be willing to have an actual discussion on neutral ground.
Drunken peasants.
Absolutely destroy you.
Maybe on drunken peasants.
Just like he did with Gary. So any of the others who have made videos, I've seen their videos posted in the Twitter threads, and I've been told that 1 or 2 of them don't have Twitter. So DMs are open on multiple platforms.
I would watch that
anywhere. Please, by all means, please let me know. I will do everything that I can to hook you the fuck up.
Yeah, I would totally watch that. Because, well, one, Drunken Peasants is a pretty neutral platform. They've already approved it. They already said, yeah, we'll host this. Fine. But they keep on saying they want to talk to me. Here's the thing. I don't talk to some of these people. Ever. I don't even mention their names. So now they're saying, well, you're scared to talk to this person. Think what you want. It has nothing to do with being scared. I do not want to have any contact with people that are this vile. I just don't. And I've said this for years. That's why I haven't talked about them, mentioned their names, or anything like that. So if somebody says, well, you're just scared to talk to them, think what you want. I don't care. I will not have any contact with these people, ever. And Bullinator could probably tell you exactly why. But I don't feel like I need to tell people that. But if Reds wants to, he's a big boy. I've never told Reds, don't talk to these people, don't do this. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. What Reds does is this.
As if you'd be able to stop him.
I'll be forthright. I'll tell you what Reds does. Reds would be like, hey, Steve, I'm doing this. I wouldn't mind getting your input on it, but I'm doing this.
There's no stopping. There's no stopping that boy.
Yeah.
Realistically, again, this is just essentially what I would call is I can probably hook you up. I can probably set you up with something. My DMs are open, even if Steve's aren't open, and if Red's aren't open, mine are 100% open.
Yeah.
So if you think you got the goods, you think you can put up or shut up,
and anybody can run the arguments.
I'm waiting
because as people tell, I've not run.
It's been 2 days since this offer has been made, and there's been silence.
I'm clearly not one to run away from people, right? That's not even my history. So I don't know why anybody would ever think that. But here's the thing. An argument is an argument. If one of those people had a decent argument, even though I won't talk to them, if somebody else wants to come run their argument, right, with Reds or even myself,
yeah, sure.
I don't give a fuck. Because the argument's the argument, right?
I would absolutely. But I'd be willing to bet. I would be willing to place money down that on a neutral ground, because I don't think Reds would want them on his channel, but on a neutral ground, like say the Drunken Peasants or some other neutral ground, that Reds would take on not only Fiona directly, but Exiled, her husband, Gary again if he really felt like it, and Heretic, all 5 of them. He would probably be like, yeah, I'll talk with all 5 of you at once.
By the way, people love my invisible cup. Ooh.
No, that cup is great.
I got 3 or 4 of these. I just can't find the other ones. So let's leave that.
Move on.
We'll move that.
Challenge has been issued.
I will say this. I really have no desire to talk about Fiona at all. I think she's just a horrific woman that has done some horrific things to destroy communities. I will leave this. She is a PhD in biology, which she's very good at. 99% of her time is talking shit. Now, if she was used that 99 time to educate people with her knowledge, what a vast community outreach that would be. What amazing thing that would be for her to actually take the time to help educate people in something that she does know, rather than waste her time trying to defame and smear people. I don't understand it. That's what she likes. She'll bring up shit from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. She never moves past anything. I have. And so if she wants to spend the rest of her life dogging on me and trying to smear me, she's more than welcome to. But my advice is, you have a fucking PhD in biology. Use it to educate people. And then leave the rest of people alone. But she's not going to do that. I guarantee it. She doesn't know how. She's incapable of doing that. But that, to me, is the best advice I could ever give somebody.
She showed up trying to defend her argument on Twitter, saying, well, I wasn't really saying Steve was a rape apologist.
Which
I was saying
she literally did.
In rape apologetics, which is a very blatant misrepresentation of what she said in her own video. But even if that was the case, all that means is your video failed to portray what it was trying to portray, and it failed to demonstrate that point on either front. So retract your video, fix your mistakes, and try and come up with a better argument then.
Yep.
All right. Apologize.
Moving on, because we still got a long ways to go, people. Wow.
Let's go.
We haven't got to the heart of this show yet. Holy cow.
Oh my god, there's so much that's been going on.
So Mr. Atheist hedges his bets on ethical behavior 101. People may know I wrote an open letter to Mr. Atheist and other content creators. It was not well received by anyone that I addressed it to. Other people liked it because they recognized that I was actually trying to make an actual effort to say, your reputation is going to be damaged here. I'm reaching out to you to see if you want to protect it at this point. He just didn't want that. He spat on me. Other content creators have actually spat on me as well. He's actually...
I believe we may or may not have spoken about one of those in an earlier episode, and who they may or may not have come flying into the live chat.
Who hasn't contacted me since and not unblocked me or reached out to me, but that's okay. But he's Mr. Atheist, a.k.a. Jimmy, right? He has actually had a tweet that he's no longer going to be doing shows with Kyle. until the non sequitur show stuff is resolved, which I can understand. But at the same time, it's completely hedging his bets. He has not renounced the fact that I was not paid. He told me I would be paid. I subsequently have asked him, it's been 103 days. I cannot be paid now by his own accord because it's in litigation. Do you retract your comment? Do you now realize that you were wrong? He blocks me when I asked him that. And I go on his page, he blocks me on there, and he deletes all my comments. He deletes any comments asking about it.
You're actually also blocked on his YouTube channel. You've been blocked since he did the Q&A video with the call-in Q&A with Kyle,
Yeah. I mean, I'm blocked on his YouTube channel. Other people are blocked on his YouTube channel. He doesn't want his fans to know that he fucked up. But he's now, I mean, if somebody just says to you, hey, you know what, I think you should be paid. Like Holy Kool-Aid was just going on a limb saying, well, I do think you should be paid. Well, no shit.
Oh.
I think that's just kind of, anybody thinks that. I mean, even my detractors have said that. Even people that hate me think that I should get paid. I mean, I did work for a year and a half, right? So that's not really that big of a consideration of all the ethical concerns going down with the show. And Jimmy,
let me just share screens real quick
please.
so you can actually see directly what Jimmy had said, because we want to make sure we're not taking anybody out of context. We want to make sure everything is very clear for everybody.
Let me see how I'm going to see
this is what Jimmy tweeted.
Wait, can I see? I don't think I can see this. How am I doing this?
I don't know, you're screen sharing to me as well, so maybe if you turn off your screen share.
Right. Did that work?
I don't know. I'm screen sharing right now. You tell me.
Yeah, I could. Okay, wait. Let me add this in as a something, because that way they can actually see it. Because it's not screen sharing through your NDI.
Oh, okay.
I can still see your video. So let me do a quick Windows capture here, and then they should be able to see it. 1 second. You know what? I'll do this as a display capture because it doesn't work for Skype for some reason. I think it's because I have a setting in Chrome that I need to change.
Oh, yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, I think if you don't turn off your hardware accelerator, then it gets black. Let me see here. 1 sec. I got this.
Apparently, there's a separate NDI for screen share.
There might be. Yeah, there might be.
That's coming from Boole, so I'm gonna go ahead.
Yeah,
and
Boole says it's
absolutely
gold.
Correct.
But I'm too idiotic to figure that out, Boole, because I don't have a producer right now. So I'm gonna do it the really simple way. And just add it as
I've been having fun with this shirt because
video
this shirt
capture.
is like super like weird looking on camera. So it's just it like waves around and shit. It's an optical illusion shirt.
All right, there we go.
2 pounds from Godless Scummer says Jimmy doesn't realize he's sailing on the Titanic.
Oh, I think he might. I don't think he cares because
he
his fans don't give a shit, right? He knows he has a very large audience. He's isolated them. They're all insular. They're not exposed to any of the foibles that he's done. I like that word now.
Well, he's not. He's specifically making sure they don't know so that he can. He's in the past threatened to weaponize them.
Yes.
I've got a screenshot of this just to. I don't want to take anything out of context or say anything that he hasn't said. I'll show it to you momentarily. But here's what Jimmy had said. Jimmy said, just talk to Kyle and let him know I want for us to go on a hiatus with our live shows together until after the legal battle regarding the non-sequitur show is over. I will still do live shows and podcasts in the meantime. Now, does that mean, out of curiosity to Jimmy, because I'm not sure, I'm trying to be as generous as possible, does that mean you're still going to be doing live shows and podcasts with Kyle?
No, I don't think so.
Or just podcast? Like, I'm a little bit unclear about that. I think what he means is that he's still going to be doing them on his own, just not with Kyle.
Right.
But clarification.
He'll be doing the live shows, call-in shows, but I don't think he's going to be doing it with Kyle.
Sure. Yeah, that could very well.
That's how I read it.
So he then specified to clarify, Kyle is in a legal battle. I am not. The hiatus does not imply any change in my position, which is still that I am not commenting on a legal battle. Well, that's interesting because the position that you've taken is that Steve is going to get paid.
Yeah, he had commented on it, and he was wrong.
That was the position you've taken. Now, it seems to be that he's saying that his position is that he's not going to comment on a legal battle, which is really interesting because you commented on it when you said that Steve would get paid.
Yeah, and I don't understand this. People comment on legal shit all the time on YouTube, right? All the fucking time. Why is my case any different? Now, Unirock is commenting on it. In Time is commenting on it. But Jimmy won't. because he knows I think he knows he's damn well in the wrong. We're going to lead into the next thing because Katie realized she was wrong, which is a good segue, but we're not quite there yet. But Jimmy has literally, in my opinion, become the most unethical of most of them because he knows he was in the wrong on this. I honestly think that he recognizes that I cannot be paid now. 103 days, he was wrong. And instead of manning up, instead of taking my open letter and going, you know what, Steve, dude, I really bleed my friend. I recognize now you can't get paid. I'm sorry. I would have left him the fuck alone. Right.
Well, he's doubled down on this a couple of times.
Right, and then
so
I'm not leaving him alone, and it's going to get far worse for him as more comes out, I think.
Oh yeah, I've got the screenshots for that as well, Godless. So the second half of this is interesting though. Though some people seem to think me asking a lawyer on a live stream their opinion on something is a statement. I do believe that is in regards to his comments to Nate Brody when he was asking about Steve having doxed Kyle. He was claiming that Steve doxed Kyle by releasing public information about the case. And now Steve didn't actually release this information. Steve just made people aware that the information existed and made it available to people because it was public, because it's a legal case, so it's public.
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that the documents became public so quickly. Usually it takes a very long time for them to scan everything.
No, this isn't an atheist channel.
So it's not. It's not an atheist channel. I mean, we're non-believers, but that's a whole different story. But
that's an episode of Ask.
Yeah, come back Friday. But I was happy that they were released. I was really ecstatic. I was like, wow, this is great. But because I couldn't release them prior, I'm not going to release legal documents. But State did. People got a hold of it very well, and I said, okay, great. And then I'll show people how to find it. But I did note, and Jimmy saw this, that the information on there was old. That was Kyle's old address. People had known that he had moved. He moved in with his boyfriend, which I don't have the address for. That was I wouldn't even think it was several days. It was a couple days after he was served, right? I mean, so he had plans to move, whether he was avoiding service or not, I don't know. But the address on there was old, wasn't relevant any longer. Even if it was, it still wasn't doxing because it was public information. So, but there was two things that would definitely prevent it from being doxing. One, it was already public, and two, more especially, I think, to be the case that it was not even correct information any longer. But I think Jimmy wanted to point that out, that he wanted to make an issue of his doxing or not to hide the fact that of all the things that are in the document, right? So.
Yep. Here really quickly, can they see the outside?
Yes.
Okay. So this is back some time ago. It says 3 minutes ago, but this was back a good number of months ago when Jimmy was claiming that Steve was transphobic. And in that entire thread, that here is, oh dear Mr. Atheist, I actually told people who offered to stay out of it, referring to the conversation, because this was super non-productive garbage, but okay. If I want it back up, you do realize I could have thousands of people appear rather quickly and easily, right?
Now, I'm gonna take a little different stance from you. I don't think this was a veiled threat as much as you think it was. I don't
think he was actually I don't think he'd actually do it. I think This is just more of he's just
flexing his
puffing his feathers up, flexing himself a little bit. I like to respect Jimmy enough to think that he wouldn't actually use. I for two reasons. One, I don't think that he would actually do this for a few reasons. One of them being that I think he's good enough to not do that because I think it'd be detrimental to him. I think he's smarter than that. And two, because if he were to do this, he would then be exposing his audience to the shit he doesn't want.
I thought the exact same thing. I swear to you, I didn't know if you were going to say that because I was going to give you. I was going to give you pushback, and I think not pushback. I was going to well, the reason I think he won't do it was that exact reason. I am convinced he wouldn't do it for the fact that his audience will be exposed to a lot of stuff. He's keeping his audience so isolated from all this stuff because when comments have been left by why are you having Kyle on, blah blah blah, he's ignored a lot of that stuff. He's deleted some comments, and so his audience, some of his audience were like, "Who's Steve?"
Yeah.
And then people were like, "Oh, you've got here. Let me show you." And then people were actually going there and saying, "Hey, this is this, and this is this." Like they're like, "No way." Oh, hang on, let me get Chesh back here. Hey, welcome to Caffeine Corner.
Yay!
Yay!
Did it work? Apparently I was frozen, so I just flicked.
Well, no, it wasn't. It was frozen because you were screen sharing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's why.
I thought so, but I didn't want to assume. Yeah. I've got one more.
Okay.
I've got one more to share for Jimmy. Nope.
Is this the one I think it is?
This is what we were talking about to demonstrate that yes, he was in fact asking about Steve doxing.
Let me that one.
But
go ahead.
Yeah, so he says, I don't think you're doxing. I think Steve did, even though it's public record. How is it doxing if it's public record?
And how is it that if he shows it, it's not doxing, but if I link to it, it's doxing?
Steve?
Yeah, this is weird. And it's like I said, it's public record.
Increasing the ease of access and likelihood for harassment, I think, is unethical. What?
Let's think about this for one freaking second. First of all, it was an old address. So what do you think that I was doing? Saying, hey, everybody go storm his old address to go harass him. Go fly to North Carolina to go harass him. I mean, the amount of idiocy in something along those lines of a statement from Jimmy just shows the disconnect that he has with reality, that he's trying to form a narrative such that I'm going to send people to go harass somebody at a fake address rather than have to realize that, hey, maybe Steve did get screwed here.
So I enjoy that the person, like, I didn't clip this one. I got this one from somebody else. And you can see the person right above him asking this and saying this, because the part of this is a question, but the other part of it isn't. Document, definitely not doxing.
Yeah, I saw the whole full thing somebody had sent me, because I didn't watch the video, but somebody had actually sent me the screenshots, and somebody was like, no, it's just not doxing. But yeah, Jimmy talking about ethical considerations. Boy, that's rich. So that tells you his ethical framework. This tells you where his ethics actually lie.
Well, yeah, and here's the other one. I wanted to know if you think that Steve has doxed Kyle by directing people to his address. I want to emphasize again, I don't believe you doxed him. So this is just him re-asking and restating the same kind of question, but he's already counteracted this in his own statement. In what way is making the information about the lawsuit public and available to people who deserve to know what's going on? Because that would be the ethical thing to do. Is unethical and doxing.
Bullinator
or encouraging anything.
Bullinator nails it. He says, it's about as legitimate as flagging privacy on videos for sharing your public website, FE Core.
Go get yourself a fuck FE Core shirt on the Reds Rhetoric Teespring.
Yeah, that was good.
Drink the tears of all the old G Plus group. Go get yourself a smug.
We should do that one of these days. They'll like I said, they'll let them just do their thing in obscurity. God bless them.
Godless Scummers said, could Steve use some of the money he got from Non Sequitur to fly me to England, from England to North Carolina to harass Kyle?
Yeah, I don't think you realize how much I got. Oh, wait, nothing.
Nothing.
All right, so anyways, we're going to sum it up. We're coming up on the hour mark. We're summing it up with Mr. Atheist. I just want you guys to see what we're dealing with, that Mr. Atheist has gone full
it's really interesting that he's done that, and Holy Kool-Aid came out to say what he did just at the same time that Katie toppled the first domino effect, and now we're on to Katie Polson, everyone.
Segue. But one last thing, you got to remember, Mr. Atheist was also the one that started calling everybody transphobe, including me.
Well, he's also the one that his audience got super upset that somebody called his hair a man bun.
Yeah.
And he did nothing to stop them when there's a video of him calling his hair a man bun.
Well, Kyle used the term man bun, and they got upset. Then prior, he's used the term before, and nobody said shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So his audience were going after people and were upset because Kyle and other people had called his hair a man bun.
Yeah. And
if you watch the videos, Mr. Atheist himself calls his hair a man bun, but he didn't do anything to stop people from harassing Kyle. Right.
Bullinator says, special Mr. Atheist edition. That will have its day, but not on this channel, hopefully. But yeah, don't think for a second that I'm letting Mr. Atheist off the hook. I am definitely not. I'm going to hold his feet to the fire in perpetuity. Somebody says you hate atheists. So you guys hate atheists. We hate everybody. I'm just a very, very hateful person. I don't like any. I don't even know how I put up a Cheshire. I can't stand her. I hate her guts. She's like this annoying cheerleader goblin cow. But whatever, you make do, right? You take what you can get for a co-host. We'll have to do a whole segment on that, by the way. Cheerleader goblin cow.
Cheerleader goblin cow. Tranny cheerleader goblin cow.
You're going to have your own subreddit. You know that, right?
Go, please.
Yeah.
Oh my god. If there's a subreddit somewhere that is just fan fiction and fan art of this amalgamation creature that has transitioned from either male to female or female to male. There's no, I don't know which. That is a cow. That is also a goblin. That is a cheerleader. I would be really happy. I would read all of that.
I think it'd be I think people could actually do something like this. By the way, we also have to bring all the fan art that we had over the last couple months, especially for all the memes. Oh my god.
I've collected some of them, but not all of them.
We need to find all of them.
Once I get a little bit more settled, I'll.
You know my favorite
try
though.
And do a back. Oh, which one?
Steve, why?
How could Steve do this?
Why would you do this, Steve? I love that. I can't.
The one that started it all.
Yeah, that was like the very first one. I think and you wrote it, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. I started that, and I was just
Still
like,
my
let the
favorite.
memes begin.
Yeah. Why, Steve?
I'm actually working on a shirt. Oh yeah, that's right. We need to announce the shirt. I'm working on a shirt design that Steve was saying might be a little bit too much of an inside joke, but you guys could let me know. It's a shirt that says "Represent the 5%."
Yeah, what do you guys think of that?
Think? You let me know.
Because
the design is done. I can make it available if people are interested.
The live chat we got some new people coming in, and obviously as this channel grows, and I think it's gonna get much bigger, especially in the fact that I'm hoping to have things with other channels, but that I have because I have 3 channels or 2 technically. 2 I have, and then third I'm working to get back, I guess you can say, but. I don't know how much inside jokes could be on the Teespring, which, by the way, I have now actually found confirmation and shown people that I started the Teespring idea. I actually offered it to Kyle to say, I have this thing called Teespring that I wanted to do these things with. Let me show you it. He didn't know what it was. It was my ideas. I said, I'll split it with you 50-50. He agreed to that. And then later on it became, I'm taking all of 100% of Teespring. Same offer I offered Chesh, by the way. We have a 50-50 deal, and she gets paid every month. So
yep.
There's no.
I can confirm that I have actually already been paid.
Yeah. Well, those were in dick pics, though. But I'll get you some cash. And not, by the way, not mine. No, I'm not like that.
But yeah, this doesn't have to be on a shirt. It can be on a mug. It could be on a hat. I can put it on anything.
Yeah.
I can put it on a clock if you really.
We are the 5%ers.
Poster. I can make it a poster.
Well, I think what we should need to do. I'll get with you on it because maybe we can add something on it to where it ties it more together to what the general thing was from non sequitur somehow, right? But we'll figure that out. But anyways, here's what we're going to be talking about the rest of the show. Katie Joy Polson. Now I told her that. Yes, my heart quivers. I told her we were going to be doing this episode.
Careful! That comment might make her uncomfortable. Helios 575 for $5, United States. Cheshire. There's an entire game and website dedicated to stuff like that. Look up Champion of Corruption on fenoxo.com.
That sounds like a porn site. I don't know if we should go there.
What?
Yeah.
I think it's fan fiction.
Oh.
I think it's fan fiction. I'm assuming this is going to be a fan fiction slasher type, like flat porn-esque site that's for furries.
Okay.
I'm guessing because it's a cow, so I'm assuming it's going along those lines.
This went south.
That's my guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, back to Katie.
All right, so I told Katie I was going to be doing this and tie up some loose ends. And by the way, I should have done this topless because King Croc Duck really wants to see me do a topless episode. I don't know. It's his kink, man. I don't judge the guy. But maybe one of these future episodes,
we'll get it.
King
We'll
Croc
get it
Duck.
done. We'll get it done.
But anyway, so as people know, I had a friend, a couple people actually. One of them was like Dead Kennedy in space. Let Katie Polson know that I was giving serious consideration to a defamation per se lawsuit. Not bluffing. I don't bluff. People already know this. And the very next day, she wrote a retraction of all the things that she had accused me of. Well, not all of them, but some of them. This is some of the problems. She contacted. I will tell you the facts objectively. Cheshire can weigh in, but these are the objective material facts of the matter. She asked me if she could DM me and talk about it. I found out later she had asked me on Facebook as well, but I didn't see that message. But she did. So there's a lot of coherency in her story. I do believe her, but she messaged me. I said, fine. We talked in DM for a while. She showed me a lot of screenshots of things that I never asked her to make public, but she did in her video. I don't like showing people's private conversations. But she admitted that Kyle had basically lied to her. And I'm not going to say basically. He's just straight up he lied to her. And that she recognizes that money was probably gone. She recognizes that that the story that he told her, and again, the material facts here, so there's nothing slanderous. He told her that there was lawyers present at the meeting that we had. And again, I've talked about this before. There was no lawyers at the meeting. You guys could go watch the video on my channel. It's called Who's Telling the Truth, if I remember correctly that I've labeled it.
Yeah, I can go find that.
All right. That is the recorded meeting that we had that Kyle had asked us to have. There was no lawyer present. There was no terms and conditions talked about. There was no payments talked about. None of the things that Katie had said, which, by the way, I will show the screenshot for that now. But, oh, you know what? Wrong screenshot. That's okay. Well, you guys have seen this. I'm sure they've seen it before. There's a screenshot of Katie actually saying all these things like, you know, it's all settled. What else did she say? Do you want me to find those tweets real quick for the people who may not know?
Yeah, right. I think that would be
you
good.
could go on for a second.
I think I can pull them up if you want to keep going. I'm just pulling up the video about Who's Telling the Truth one.
If you could pull them up, that'd be great.
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right, so we'll get you guys those tweets, which was from ages ago, and everybody who tried to correct her on this, she blocked.
That's the link to Steve's video about the meeting that they had.
And so Bullinator, who was actually in this meeting, he was one of the few people in the meeting, tried to explain to her, Katie, everything you have said is wrong. He ended up getting blocked. Now, Katie has actually apologized for this, and I've accepted her apology. And people ask me, why'd you accept it? Because this is what I asked for. And I told people, either I get a retraction or I will sue. Because it was defamation per se on multiple different levels. And I'm not really caring about the money. It would have been a long hassle, but I think for my integrity, it would have been worth it. So this is why I was discussing it. But I said to myself, I'd rather have a retraction that I can go after bigger fish with than have to worry about suing Katie. So it was an ends to a means, right? Or means to an end, I should say. I'm sorry. And it was fine. So I'm not going to throw it back in her face, even though I think that she used the apology to further narrate her victimhood status. And again, these are my final thoughts on it. And I'm not going to just, say, oh, Katie's a wonderful person. No, I do think that she doesn't do her due diligence. I do think that she makes a lot of errors. She doesn't correct it. She has a long history of this. And I'm sorry, Katie, you do. Whatever. I mean, you just have to accept this. Again, I'm not trying to talk negative about her. I know she's going to think that, but I did tell her I'm going to express my thoughts on it. But I do appreciate her at least coming forth and issuing apology. So kudos to that. Small things, but I will accept that.
Which screenshots did you want? You wanted the ones of Katie saying what?
That all has been settled, that kind of stuff.
Oh, right. Okay.
If not, I do have them readily available. I can find them.
If you've got them, then that would be handy dandy. Because I want to go through real quick what I think Nick Suter from In Time summed this up, and from As a Philosopher.
Go ahead and do that while I find it, because I have no
really well. Which I have pulled up. So really quick, this is what Nick had to say on the matter on Twitter, and here's the link to that if anybody wants to go and find that, because we're all about making sure everything is in context and nobody is being misrepresented. If Katie Paulson is truly sorry for the numerous mistakes she's made regarding non-sec, I am genuinely pleased. If so, however, I believe that, well, obviously she was under a great deal of stress. She also caused a great deal of stress. I'm curious to know if any of the action, what, if any, action she is taking to remediate. For example, I noticed that everyone she blocked, either because she misassociated them with a parody account or because they tried futilely to point out to her that the proof she was wrong was literally a click away, are still blocked. That's a lot of that is referring to Boole, because Boole was in the meeting, tried to tell her she was incorrect, wasn't rude about it whatsoever, and he was blocked immediately. She's apologized to Cheshire, so me. She kind of apologized to me, sort of.
She did, but she did. Look, we got to be objective here. We got to give credit where credit is due. I'm not going to fault her that. I think she did apologize to you properly.
All right, well, I'll take it. I don't care. So.
Small things, man. Give small things,
yeah,
right?
Credit where credit is due.
Right.
Vic, who she claimed falsely to know, very much as if she could substantiate it, which she now appears to cede that she could not, was associated with the parody account. She has explained her charge of sexual has she explained her charge of sexual harassment against Steve? Even if she and Steve see eye to eye on all other issues, this one is still outstanding. Which I'll
get to. Trust me.
If it was real, would it not be immoral of her to drop it? If fake, would it not be immoral not to recant? Instead, it's as if it never happened. I believe it immoral to neglect such a serious charge. No. I think she owes it to her fans, those who support her, to Steve and to his friends and to the community to address this allegation. No? Question mark. Well, tough questions. I believe they're fair. And any genuine remorse over what transpired, coupled with an attempt to correct the mistakes of the past, would necessitate addressing them. Thank you for your time.
Super chat.
Borge. Sex.
Sex.
500.
Wait, we gotta do this. I guess it's a sex dance we do or something. I don't get it. Is that how you do it? Wait.
I don't know. I'm imitating that.
I just do what Team Skeptic does. I don't know. Ooh, look at her go. All right, go ahead.
Steve, I enjoy listening to you. You give me an alternative way to view my thoughts with no filters. You say what's on your mind. It's refreshing and gives me something to think about. Love you too, Chesh, but that's another super chat.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Thank you, by the way. And I try not to be too filtered. I want people to objectively look at things. I want people to formulate their own opinions. I say things the way it is. I'm not really into fifis. If people really kind of figured out by now, I'm not like the Undoomed level, although I like Undoomed. I have a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy. I just think a lot of people aren't really deserving of certain things after certain things that they do, right? So I only limit my empathy to people that I think really deserve it, and then I'm overabundance of it. But I found the thing that I was referring to. So
I'm sorry, I slaughtered your name. I just totally my brain just broke on that, and I absolutely apologize.
Yeah, we suck at names, man.
I'm gonna stop reading people's names. I swear to God.
I would say it'd be Bajorn. Is that right, Bajorn? Yeah. Bajorn gave you sex.
Bajorn gave you sex, not me.
Okay,
that one was for you. Mine's a separate super chat.
That's true. He gave me sex. Wow.
Yeah.
Giggity. All right, so this is, again, to get people, as somebody had pointed out, a little backstory. Katie Joy had said, her name's Katie Joy Polson. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe your site isn't being truthful. I have no idea. That is not what I was told. They met with a lawyer and power of attorney. They went over terms and payments and came to agreement. Now, let me clarify this. I do believe her. Again, her narrative makes sense. It's cogent. I think that this is literally, she was told these things and she just ran with it. I don't think she's lying at all on that. It all makes sense. This is how I evaluate things, right? Does the story make sense from their perspective? If I was to step in their shoes, would it make sense? Yes. So I'm completely believing her. I'm not even giving her the benefit of the doubt. It's more, I do believe her straight up. And I've said this from the beginning. Did I not say, if you guys remember, that I think she was just being misled. But anyways, she says, I was told they agreed on terms and payments. I was told they came into agreement and was told power of attorney was there. That's what I was told. Now, there was a power of attorney, which was Glenn Williamson. There was no attorneys. And the reason I want to show this precursor stuff, because it gets into more of what Kyle had told her. Because
in the link that I'm adding into the chat right now is the actual conversation that Katie is referencing in this tweet. She
said, I was told on Monday they met with an attorney. I was told they had a conference call. but the power with an attorney. What do you talk about? I told you they're lawyers. It's settled. They settled. It's over. Do you guys know they've already met with lawyers present? It's all been decided. Now, the reason why I believe her wholeheartedly is I actually seen the messages to her.
Yeah,
and this is what she was being told.
That she was told this.
Yes.
Now, I do have a couple of other issues with about the way she went about her apology, mostly because she didn't really take a whole lot of
responsibility,
her own onus on it. Yeah, so she spent a whole lot of time being like, you know what, I trusted a friend, so she was spending a lot of the time shifting the blame on Kyle. Now, it is Kyle's fault for lying. It is Kyle's fault for being a douchebag. However, she didn't she also claims that a lot of this was fishy, but at no point did she ever decide to stop saying shit about it.
Well, no, she did stop. She stopped. She backed off for a while, but people would not let her go on it.
Kinda.
Right? People were like, you can't just say this kind of stuff and then just walk away thinking that people are going to challenge you on it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And the thing is that this is the thing. I appreciate that there was an apology. However, a lot of this comes off to, especially when she starts kind of wandering about what she's trying to say a little bit. There's a couple of things in there that are a little bit like, but you're not really addressing that, though. But you're not really taking responsibility for the actions you took based on that false information. Yes, you got false information. Yes, you have acknowledged that you got that false information, but you haven't really owned up to your actions regarding that false information. You're just blaming the false information on the person who gave it to you.
Yeah, I know. Everybody kind of noticed that. Now, look at Katie makes her own bed. She's off my radar after this.
We'll still take the apology.
And the reason why she's off my radar is because I have other things that I'm going to go after of more importance to me than exposing Katie as just a bad journalist. Or as she says, she's an investigative reporter, not a journalist, not understanding that they are the same thing. Investigative journalism is an investigative reporter. I don't see a distinction between them. Maybe there is. If there is, I'm
semantic argument.
Weird, but that's what she said. She has said to a friend of mine that she's an investigative reporter, not a journalist. She doesn't like that term, although she used that term multiple times in the past. But whatever. Other people can worry about Katie. This is just my final thoughts on her, unless she tries to pop up again. But I mean, if she makes mistakes in other things, I'm still going to call her out. But this is to me is a pretty dead issue, except for some minor caveats. Now. Oh, you got a super chat real quick.
Yep, Reed said, Katie apologized, that's great, GENKC to go, and Mr. Atheist and Shannon, I would like to add on to that one. Princess says, $5 for $5 Canadian, this show is interesting, but it'd be more interesting if both of you were topless.
And we'd be off the air, too.
Well, not necessarily.
We'd be demonetized.
Just not on the air here.
It'd be demonetized on YouTube. Well, I'm allowed to be because, YouTube's sexist. Men can go topless, women can't. I think that's biased. I think it's sexist, but whatever. So this is that's not it. There we go. So this is what she said afterwards. She issued an apology, and this is read, by the way, backwards. So start from the bottom. She said, I read the lawsuit this morning filed by Steve McRae against Kyle. Months ago, I made statements about him based upon information provided to me by Kyle. I believed my friend and accused Steve of defrauding the government. I'm sorry for making those statements. Over the weeks, I've sought clarification from Kyle privately, but was always given the excuse that didn't add up. But I believed him when he said that he had a lawyer and would pay Steve. When I pushed him to provide the lawyer information to Steve, Kyle's reasoning made no sense. Eventually, I realized Kyle wasn't being truthful for whatever reason. Maybe he didn't have the money. Maybe he was trying to buy some time, but I didn't want to be associated with fraud of any kind. Since it's been over 3 months, I realized my gut feelings were right. I wanted to believe my friend, and sadly, he wasn't being forthcoming. I value my honesty and expect that of my friends. In this case, I hope that Steve gets the money he rightfully is due, and that Kyle would admit that he misled so many of us. Again, I do believe her on this. This narrative that she says here is completely correct as far as I'm understanding it. I can't fault her for that.
I don't think she's lying.
No.
I think at worst, I think she could be seen as shifting, like not taking full responsibility.
I will let other people judge that. I will let other people judge that.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. Godless Scummer for £5 says, whatever the reason for the apology, one of Kyle's biggest supporters has denounced him and put a huge nail in the coffin of Kyle's reputation.
And
she shared a lot of personal PS. Like she shared I wonder if she had permission from Kyle to do that.
I don't know. Again, I didn't.
Kyle has given permission to show people some shit that he shouldn't give them permission to show before.
I asked if she was going to make a video right? Which, by the way, I've asked other people, and certain people took offense to that. But I asked her if she was going to make a video. She was more than happy to do it. But I did not ask her to show screenshots. So, but
5% pencils.
but like I said, she addressed that. But she did address the sexual harassment charge. Now let me talk about that for a second. That whole
she briefly did touch on the VA one.
She apologized for the VA. Well, I showed her all the information on that. She totally understands what happened. She admits, oh yes, there was no fraud involved. There was never any fraud. I was misled. She was, her words, she was misled, as she said. I was misled by Kyle. So she knows that was all BS. And she understands what happened. I broke it down timeline wise with her, and it clicked with her. She's like, yeah, this totally makes sense. What actually transpired. It was never to defraud anything. There was no intent to defraud. Matter of fact, quite the opposite. I was actually very, very concerned about taxes being paid properly. But the sexual harassment charge, that actually came from a comment. This is what I've heard. Now, again, this is from Katie. Katie wanted to talk about privately. I'm not interested in having a private conversation with it because this was made public. I think that should be talked about public. If she has any damning evidence, bring it forth, because from what I understand, it came from this. When we had Mercedes Carrera on, and I don't remember where she said this, so I can't really back this up. This is from what I remember. And I think Without a Crystal Balls, which is not a parody account, by the way, it's a commentary account. But she has a record of all this. Or he. I really don't. Yeah, I really don't know the gender. I don't. Well, it's actually Cheshire, but whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Just ask.
It's me, the trans goblin cow cheerleader.
She literally got accused of being all these other accounts, or I did, or people that we know. I will go on record. I don't know who these people are. I've never talked to them prior to this. They didn't. Some of them didn't even know who I was. So I don't
even know if I've had a conversation with that account that is private.
Oh, I do privately talk to them. Yeah,
from,
but only recently.
It says for $5 US, Steve, did Katie reach out to you prior to this apology to get your side of the story?
No,
I believe she did.
When?
Before this apology? Because you asked her if she was going to make a video about it.
That was afterwards.
Oh, so she made
That was during our conversation that we had yesterday.
Oh, gotcha.
Why would I ask her for a video if she wasn't even talking to me? She had me blocked. No, I asked her yesterday if she was going to make a video about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then.
But I'm saying I have asked other people they're going to make videos, and they got.
So did Katie ever reach out to you prior to this apology? So yeah.
I have not heard. No, she never asked me anything.
She got a bunch of pressure, found out she was in potential of being sued, and then talks started happening in that video.
Right.
There you go. That's the timeline. Hopefully that clears that up. And we also got Copernicus for 333, because of course for US is virtual sign of life request, Chesh's cute dog. He's licking his balls that he doesn't have currently.
Sexist.
Hey Puck. Hi. Hey buddy. How you doing? You want some? Here, I got a little bit of rice. Come here, buddy. You want a snack? Yeah, you do. Hi. Yeah, you dropped it all over the place. Of course you did.
So,
can I get a high five? Yeah, I did.
I can't find it off the top. Somewhere you guys can go find it. But basically, where it stemmed from was I was talking about Mercedes Carrera, and I said something along the lines of, "We have Mercedes Carrera on. She's hot as fuck. Enjoyed the conversation." And Katie said something about her being hot as fuck too. That somehow later on became her being uncomfortable with me saying that, although she was saying these exact same things, and she talked about other women's boobs. I never said anything directly to her. Never harassed her in any fucking way. Never made any sexual innuendos to her. At least not to my knowledge. I mean, I do kid around a lot, but to my knowledge, I never said fuck all to her. She hasn't ever said anything that I've said to her. So I have no idea what she's talking about, other than somebody had told me this is what she was saying that triggered her, was that I was talking about Mercedes Carrera. But I've offered her, make it public, but she has said, I'm not going to talk about it with anybody. I'll talk about it with you privately. I'm not interested in that, because, first of all, if you accuse somebody of sexual harassment and you want to go private with them, a little disconcerting, right? Because I want there to be witnesses. Second of all, if there's anything out there that's ever been me sexually harassing her of any nature, I am convinced, without a shadow of a doubt, she would have said something on her show.
Well,
she would have made
if you're talking about it, then and she made that claim publicly, she should publicly take that claim back if it is not the case.
Well, that's why I look at it. I mean, the people that I flirt with is very, very small, and the people I flirt with, I know of them, and they know of me. We have a rapport with each other. That first of all, that's not even flirt. I mean, that's not harassment by any stretch of the imagination. Matter of fact, what's weird is I actually have women in my life that tell me that I don't harass them enough.
It's true. I've witnessed that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't... People have to understand, just because I'm a male, just because I happen to like women, that doesn't make somebody a harasser. Not by any stretch of imagination.
Chat, by the way, is straight to Katie's video. So if you would like to go and make an assessment for yourself, please do.
Now, well,
let us know what you think. Let her know what you think. I'm sure she's open in the comments.
Without a... Well, in the comment section, she has actually sent her a video. If you approach her politely and not insult, then she will...
Yeah, no, yeah, be polite, don't be rude. If you have an assessment, by all means, there's no need to go and like go call names, because there's not really what you can. Well, that's fine. She's apologizing. If you have something more that you want to say about the matter, by all means, say it. But you don't need to be a dick about it. Right.
But I wish I could find without crystal balls, because she actually had a tweet on this one time, and she actually showed very, very much the timeline of what happened and what she was actually talking about as far as the sexual harassment. But anyways, that's as far as I know on it, but she didn't apologize for that. Whatever. Not really my concern. That didn't affect my reputation because everybody knows that was bullshit. But the fact that she was accusing me of the fraud and the medical, that was something that other people were running with. That was the bigger thing I wanted an apology for. So I asked for it. I got it. We're square on that. Now, all the other shit that Katie does, that's a different topic. And I do have I have a producer that's doing a series on, I don't know if it's Amazon or Netflix or something like that, but she's a producer, screenwriter, actress. She's part of the whole, the story behind, what was her name? Gloria? The mother that was using the kid for she had Munchausen by proxy. Grace. It's called In Proxy is the series that's coming out. She's the showrunner for it. She's reached out to me. She wants to come on to talk about that eventually, but also she wants to come on and talk about cyberbullying. So we're gonna have her come on and talk about cyberbullying.
Oh, that'll be a great. That'll be a great episode.
But
where will we host it?
What? Well, the cyberbullying we're gonna do. I told her I want on this channel, but the In Proxy I think we can be on another channel. Hopefully in another month or so. We'll see.
What?
But anyways, that's the story on that. Like I said. I'm not. I've accepted Katie's apology. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden I'm just think she's the greatest.
We're best buddies now.
Yeah, I'm not saying all is forgotten. That's definitely not the case. But I got what I asked for. Therefore, I have no reason to really continue. To harp on her. She's off my radar. If people want to continue with her on other issues, they do their thing. I do my thing. I don't control anybody. Just recently, like today, somebody's like, Steve, you send troll. T-Jump was like, Steve, you send your troll armies over to people and stuff like that. I'm like, what the? When the hell did this ever happen? It's so funny because I don't know who it was, but somebody had commented, T-Jump, do you realize that people may just go after you because you're an idiot?
I think I said something along the same lines. I said, "Oh no, it totally can't be because people disagree with you or don't like your argumentation." Nah. Shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
Sean says, £5 contribution so that when you win the case, maybe you can fly me out for my date with Cheshire.
He's really try hard, isn't he? Sean's really trying for this, isn't he? Gotta give him props for trying. You do realize that Chester's only 17, though, right?
A for effort, and that
in goblin years.
I am not entirely not entertaining the idea since you made that decision on your own that if you got this, you would get a date.
It was a unilateral decision.
And read the tweets. He's like, if I do this, I get a date, and I don't recall.
But he fulfilled his obligations, right? I mean, he's so I mean, it was obligatory at that point. Now, see, this is what I
do appreciate when people come to me bearing gifts, which is essentially the embarrassment and the blood of my enemies.
She's
which
like
is
that
unrelated
too.
to Katie, by the way. I'm not implying.
That could be like taken a long way. She's threatening to harm me. No, but see, it's weird when women think that because a guy asks a girl out, it's somehow harassment. It's like men are scared nowadays to actually approach women. Men are scared to be even alone with women. Look at the newscaster recently that, who was it that didn't want to be alone with the same room with her because of his wife and stuff like that. And people faulted him for it. They said it was sexist. I actually understood. I mean, they have taken it to such a extreme that even if you say something in jest, because people, by the way, newsflash people, women joke about this shit almost probably worse than men a lot of times. Don't think they're innocent.
That shit goes both ways. The thing is that when you make these kinds of allegations, or when you make these kinds of, especially when you're making these claims publicly, you're hurting people. You're hurting people who actually have been in these situations.
Right.
Even if you're, like, realistically, let's be honest here. Katie's claim isn't going to harm Steve.
No.
Not really, because nobody's going to take her seriously, because nobody cares. But the thing is that nobody's going to take her seriously. So what happens if somebody actually is getting harassed by Steve?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I'll have to do the theory to a test or practice that I'll find somebody, I will go sexually harass them to no end, and we'll see if anybody believes it as a theory to practice kind of thing.
Oh,
no, I wouldn't do
man.
that.
If people are asking me for an Amazon wish list, I would love to make one. I'm not settled in where I'm living. Once I get settled there, maybe I'll set something up. I would appreciate it.
Chesh, what would be your idea of, how are we getting on this topic? But whatever. What's the idea of your perfect date? One that doesn't end with the police being called.
Oh.
Or maybe with them being called. I don't know. Somebody looking for a lost handcuff key.
My perfect date? I'm really simple and straightforward. The things that I enjoy doing are, I would like to enjoy dinner and a conversation at a bar, just having a couple of drinks that then turns into karaoke night. I think that would probably be my idea.
She's so simple.
I fucking love karaoke. It is so much goddamn fun. So being able to sit and talk ahead of time before karaoke starts, enjoying dinner at the bar and a couple of drinks, so that way we've got a little bit of tipsy going on. And if I'm into the person, we go home and have a bunch of sex.
There you go. And if she's not into that person, that's what she's going to do anyways.
Maybe.
Like Princess says, you can practice on me. Oh, that's sweet. See, I like...
Chesh seems like she would love to get kicked out of an Applebee's. I would love to get kicked out of an Applebee's.
That's a fun date.
That is. I've gone to dinner at Applebee's and then started karaoke. Except the Applebee's doesn't have karaoke.
Yeah, just make sure if you go out with Dave Silverman, you have a safe word. But see, let me tell people something. I actually like being flirted with. Don't get me wrong. I just don't receive it very well because I'm a lot more self-conscious than people realize, and a lot of times I don't know if somebody's being serious or not. I know if a girl's actually interested in me or she's being nice or pity. I have no idea half the time. I've actually been literally with a chick having sex and wondering if she likes me. It's just the mentality some guys have, right? Because you get down on yourself and shit like that. So I like being flirted with, but however, there are times where you have to draw the line. There was somebody recently, a male friend of mine, who, by the way, again, I don't care if a guy flirts with me. It doesn't bother me. I think it's flattering. But they were going way past the line.
Would the safe word be Kyle?
But let me get stuck because I think it's important. You have to let people know when they've gone past the line. So in private, I let them know, the things you're saying. It's just I find them a little bit disturbing. Please just don't do it any longer. And so so that's all you have to do. And by the way,
a little bit far and you've made me uncomfortable.
This person stopped completely. This is all you have to do. Did I call them out? Did I blast them? Right. No. Right. And that's how I think you should handle these situations. Right. But you know how many women have told me from Twitter or YouTube or anything like that I've somehow gone too far, made them comfortable? None that I recall. None, not a single one. If I don't recall any woman ever saying that I've ever crossed any such a line, because I would never want it to.
With, like, the first woman you ever dated on Facebook or something?
Yeah, my high school girlfriend. Well, I have two high school girlfriends that are on my Facebook. Misty's one of them. We get along fantastic. And then Catherine, who I actually fell in love with. She's not a fan of mine, but she's still on my Facebook here. We've talked every so often, but that didn't end well. But we were kids, right? I mean, we were literally teenagers, and she just never moved past it. And I've told her, I wish that she has, but I still love her to death. I mean, I was madly in love with this woman, but shit happens. But yeah, no, I have like 13 ex-girlfriends on my Facebook page, and none of them will ever say that I was somehow this monster that people want to make me out to be. But whatever. But you know what? I've never been kicked out of an Applebee's though.
You're a monster, Steve. A monster.
Monster. But anyways, that's Katie in a nutshell. I don't know what else you guys want to know on it. Yeah, we have a lot off topic, but that's okay.
We should allow. We like to leave a little bit of time for the chat. Are there any questions? Was there anything that was unclear? And is there any background that you guys still need for anything that we talked about? Please let us know. Just make sure you at either me or Steve in the chat just to make sure we see it. And I think I have one little blurb while we wait for any questions to come in that I think everybody can agree on, because I figure it'd be nice to agree on something at the end that is a little bit more positive. No one wants a Princess Bride remake. Nobody wants that.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't fuck up something so good. That was one of the best movies of all time. You cannot improve on it. There should never be a sequel. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Do not do it. No prequels, no sequels. Don't touch the damn thing. You know what you're going to do? You should market it and re-release it in theaters as it is. Period.
I agree with that. Yeah,
no additions, no enhancements.
You know how bad it's going to be.
Remaster the damn thing.
You know how bad a sequel would be, or try to remake it. It's not even a sequel. They're trying to redo it, aren't they? Like remake it or something like that.
There was talk of a remake, and everybody has been just slamming it. Like, nope.
Yeah, bad idea. Yeah.
Apparently, there was a super chat. Oh, there was a. Never mind. I think you dealt with it. Never mind.
Okay. So let's see. Any questions there? By the way, GeoStreamer. No, I have not read Rip Riley's paper yet. By the way, it's not a paper, but I'm not going to the next month. I don't care, to be honest with you. I've got other things I got to worry about for the next week or two. Then I'm going on vacation. I'm going on holiday for a couple of days. Probably even longer than that. But we'll see how that goes.
Apparently, the safe word is anti-disestablishmentarianism. Do I call off my? Dapper's asking if we call off the division of his division of the troll army from Katie now and send them to people trying to
yes,
Princess Bride.
Yes. There you
yes.
Go. Yeah, it's so funny because I get accused of sending people over to like, and I like to know when this ever happens. Somebody just recently did it to me today again. They're like, more than one person like saying, "Hey, well, you and your troll army." I'm like, and I even put on my Twitter. I'm like, who the hell have I ever said this?
You realize that there actually does have to be separate divisions, right? Because it's not the same people. The people who are arguing with T-Jump right now are not the same people that were arguing with Exiled and Gary, and the people that were exiled with Gary and with T-Jump are not the same people who were having a positive conversation about you when some people came in completely sideways.
Can we get that audio of what's her name just going, "That's true. That's true." What is her name?
I have no idea. I do not remember.
I know her name. That's true.
That's true. Helios575 for $20 US says, "We have diluted the meaning of sexual harassment to the point where now a man is afraid to compliment a woman for fear of getting accused of sexual harassment, and society now tends to assume it was nothing big." That is a big problem. Yeah, huge. There are people who are, because you're spouting out rape apologists, or because you're spouting out sexual harassment, or because you're racism, Nazi, all of that is all it's poisoning the well. It's diluting when there's actually an issue, like what Essence of Thought was doing to Rachel Oates and doing to Rationality.
Oh yeah, that was her. That was
or Jimmy calling you a transphobe. You're diluting what it means when somebody's actually being transphobic and hateful towards trans people. So when you're tweeting out this poor woman who got attacked and burned in the street in Europe, that's transphobia. That needs to be called out. You can't equate Steve or Rationality Rules or Rachel Oates to that kind of action.
Yeah, it's matter of fact, it's just so harmful to the trans community, and it's just, this is why that people don't want him speaking for them. But to touch on that a little bit, I've talked about rape culture before, and people have brought that up again about my opinions on rape culture. But this is one of the things that I find leads to this overestimation of rape culture, because exactly what you said, people are afraid to even give a compliment. Giving a compliment is not harassment. And I will tell you from a male perspective, I truly believe, and I could be wrong on this, right? The feminists could be completely right, and the way ultra feminists could be right. Maybe everything a man does is completely sexualized, and there cannot be in any way an actually decent compliment. I don't think that's true, obviously, but let's for arguendo. But I can tell you for myself, when I'm giving a woman a compliment, I'm generally meaning it, right? I mean, it's not to be harassment, and men think this way. We think women are beautiful, we want to give them a compliment. We think that we're doing something good. Now, people can look at it different ways. I get that, right? I do understand it might be uncomfortable. But when I'm giving a compliment, I'm thrilled by it, but at the same time, the only reason I'm uncomfortable is because I have, self-esteem issues. But I don't think they're harassing me if they give me a compliment. I go out to a bar and women compliment my eyes frequently, right? I don't think they're harassing me by giving me a compliment. I just have a hard time accepting it. It doesn't hurt me, right?
I've been uncomfortable with people approaching me and saying something about me. Only because, like, for a multitude of reasons. It could be like the way you've come across in your approach. Your approach might seem a little bit aggressive to the person, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to accuse them of harassment. Because that's not harassment. Then somebody coming over to talk to you isn't harassment. It's when they don't leave you alone that it becomes harassment. If somebody comes over to me and gives me a compliment and I say, well, thank you very much, but I'm not interested, please move on, and they don't move on, now it's harassment.
Right. I think that's a problem there.
The line.
Right.
Somebody said, Godless Scummer asked us, do you think now that Katie has gone public that GE, Casey, and Mr. Atheist will follow suit and abandon ship sometime soon? Interestingly enough, Mr. Atheist is distancing himself, but seems to have doubled down in saying that he has not changed his view.
But there's a caveat to that, because as I and some other people have noted, we think he might be doing that merely because his fans are asking questions he doesn't want to have to answer.
Also, absolutely, that could also be the case. So, there's a potential to a domino effect.
Jimmy looks out for Jimmy.
I think if anybody's going to be, I'm kind of the opinion that I don't think, given some of the clear washing that Casey has tried to do recently, in that saying, well, I never said that, and then a bunch of screenshots of her saying that thing.
That was funny.
I think she's.
I never said that. Where's your evidence? All these screenshots came out.
Oh my god, yeah. I think she's just gonna pretend it never happened and try and just.
Right.
I don't know. I don't even really have a channel. So why would I be involved in any of this?
Free to play makes a good point here, and I want to touch on it real quick. He says, "I silly mean all my backhanded compliments," and he means it as a joke. But here's the thing. There's something called negging, right? And negging is where you basically give a backhanded compliment to try to undermine the girl's esteem for a pickup artist. Don't ask me how I know this shit, whatever. Giggity. But I never would be anybody that would ever neg. I think it's a vile form of emotional manipulation. However, I have to look back to where I was 20 years ago, where I was still as kind of as shy as I was. Well, I wasn't as shy as I am now, but I still had some issues. And so I didn't want a girl to think that I actually liked her. So I would give a backhanded compliment only because I didn't want her to think that I was actually hitting on her. Right. It was weird, but I recognize that I've done that a few times in my past, which could have probably came across as negging. So it's really weird, when you're in the singles world and you're at a bar or a club and you do I want this girl to know I like her? How do I approach this? It's not easy. I stopped, dating years ago. It's just, I don't want to be in those situations any longer. However, people know I recently met somebody about a year ago. We've had communications online, and I'm flying her out next month. But other than that, I don't go out and date people. Right? I just don't. I'm not on Tinder. I never understood any of that crap. I don't get it. Not my world. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting that people do get backhanded comments, but it's not to neg. It is maybe people are just insecure and they wanting to tell somebody how they feel, but at the same time not let them think that they're hitting on them or something to make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like a joke. Yeah. Like make a joke out of these compliments. Backhanded joke. Yeah.
Back to the questions. I think the next person who will probably decide to come out, because I honestly think, given that Casey's behavior with searching her own tweets to try and find something that she said about Steve and then came up with nothing. It's so ridiculous, especially after all the screenshots and like her tendency to go into victimhood. I don't think she's going to be one of the more forthright. I think she's going to try and not.
My entire audience saw her accusing me of these things. And Casey accused me of all kinds of crimes. I don't even have to show a screenshot for that. It's so ubiquitous. They all know that.
I think the next person is going to be Shannon.
And I'll talk about it in a second. You want to do this super chat real quick?
Yeah, Corrupt Synax said, Steve, I missed the Non Sequitur show and how it kept my brain active while driving my 18-wheeler through Chicago. I'm sorry you got mauled by a trash ferret. My question is, Will Boole get any compensation after the settlement of the suit?
What we've discussed is Bull's not in the suit, so he's not going to get compensation for that. But we are going to. Cheshire and I have talked about how we want to incorporate Bull and give him some fiduciary responsibilities and monies and things like that for future projects. Now we haven't even discussed that with Bull yet, so whatever. Hey Bull.
Yeah. Hey Bull, surprise. What up?
Cat's out of the bag, but we want to
really
make sure that Bull in the future he actually is well compensated. We're going to take care of him in our own way if he's willing to, but we haven't discussed that with him yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand this.
And I'm going to take him out for a really big lunch one of these days. I'm going to come visit him or something. We're going to go on a little vacation. We're going to treat Dave right. Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand this question. Heard about Cult of Dusty talking about Steve. He did it on his most recent podcast at about 1 hour 48 minutes, I think. It's about using science to attack trans and trans tokens.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
I'm not sure.
Can you read that back in English? I don't know how to parse that.
Yeah, if you don't mind rephrasing your question about what you're actually, I think he's asking if we've seen this video, and judging by our confusion about what you're referring to, I don't think we have.
No, I mean I talk to Dusty every so often,
let us know.
But who was using science for that?
I think they're saying that Cult of Dusty was saying that you were using
I
science.
have never gotten into that. Here's the funniest thing. I have never gotten in the side of that conversation. I've never addressed the science in any way whatsoever.
Hashtag what about Bull? Yes, we got it. That's it.
Wait a minute. That causes you to want to stop having sex? I'd be like, ooh, what about Bull? Let's do it. But no, I don't recall ever talking about the science as relates to the trans. I've never gotten that aspect of it. I mean, the only thing I've talked about is basic biology, like genetics, but as far as the trans in sports and how many micromoles things, I really never talked about that much.
There's something that's a little bit I found misconstrued about when you've been called a trans.
I think he's talking about Steve Woodward. I think he's not talking about me when Call of Dusty's talking. Yeah, when Call of Dusty's talking about this, I don't. He's not talking about me. Steve, he's talking about Yesterday Rule, Stephen Woodward, because I've never discussed that stuff. Yeah. At least I'm thinking that. Yeah.
We may have cleared up the confusion, hopefully, there then.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Let's get him in here. Dusty. Call Dusty.
Everybody's name is Steve. My name is Steve. Your name is Steve. Everybody is Steve. Helios for Helios $5.75 for $5 US. Jimmy's position has changed from pro Kyle to declare neutral, so his I won't change is pure gaslighting.
Yeah, there's a point to be said for that. But you had mentioned Shannon, so let me touch on that real quick because again, people know I do adore Shannon. Now, do I think that maybe she's a little biased? Yes. Do I think she's a non-objective? Yes. I don't think she's objective at all in this. However, she has to be left out, and we Rez and I have done so, right?
She?
Well, originally.
I know you two have leave her. I noticed that she's been sticking her toe in every often on Twitter.
Right, and every time we have, we've shut her down, and she just runs away, which is fine, sort of, I guess. But I mean, here's the thing with Shannon. All I ever want from Shannon is simple: for her to recognize that she was also lied to as well, and apologize for her saying that I get my money, and that the whole non sequitur thing. It was bullshit. I mean,
I honestly don't think either of us.
I'm not targeting Shannon. I love Shannon.
Yeah, I would honestly like to see her be able to approach this from a better state than where she has been about the situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that clear enough? I don't think she's a bad person.
No, not at all.
I think she's in an awkward position. I think she's been put in an awkward place, but she keeps putting her toe in. And that's part of the problem.
Well,
she keeps saying, well, no, but she keeps...
Has she seen Katie's stuff yet? I mean, is she aware of Katie's domino falling?
Yeah, I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know. It's only been a day, so it's very possible that she's busy because, she has a life.
You know what's so funny is she's Canadian. She's the type of person to say she's sorry if she looks at you wrong. And yet, here's the thing, literally egregious things have been said about me that she knows now is not true, that she knows everything about what she was told was not true. She can go read the complaint. So I mean, there's just no excuse for her any longer for her to defend somebody, in my opinion. Another super chat.
Yeah, Cillian Holland for £2 says, "Can we get Desert File on your channel sometime?" ?
Maybe. I've reached out to Desert File before. I'm
not familiar with them.
Oh, Desert File, Gravity. Doesn't ring a bell.
I have no
yes,
idea who that is.
He's the one that made a video. Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity. Ever heard of Gravity? he is basically a recluse. If you think I had a long beard, he's just all hair and beard. He lives in the desert in a little RV. He does some videos, but desert stuff. But he was famous for that little shout out going, "Gravity, you retard, gravity." It was funny back then. It was back in the YouTube days of memes and stuff like that. It got started. He was memed for this.
Nice.
But yeah, that was Desert File. Yes.
I can pronounce. I know we've been in contact, but I don't know if I can pronounce your name. I'm gonna Letty Lumo. Letty Lumo. There we go. I got the Letty part right. Kyle as Boole's indentured servant for a year. Lol. I think that's the best argument for indentured servitude I've ever heard.
Yeah, but it's not slavery; it's indentured servitude, right, G-Man?
Oh my god, would that not have been hilarious when G-Man was destroying GE and Kyle if he had said that Kyle should be Boole's indentured servant?
Wow.
For the shit he's pulled? Oh, that would have been amazing.
I'm sure Boole wouldn't mind a little gimp slave every now and then. More power to him.
Oh, apparently it had something to do with... apparently what Cult of Dusty was talking about had something to do with Twitter and something to do with what you had retweeted. Yeah, I guess we'll have to go and watch it back. I don't know. We haven't seen it.
All right, this one's for you.
Should I pronounce the name wrong again on purpose?
Good luck with it. I thought it was Bjorn, but I think it's somebody corrected me.
I'm gonna try Bjorn and say sex 500. Steve, this super chat is for Chesh or Chess. Sorry. So don't back down on your word. These sex belong to Chesh. Chesh, the first time I saw you was during the Non Sequitur show Fallout, and you just simply worded the obvious of the situation. That to me was awesome. Oh,
I will figure out the math and convert it to what it is, and it will go to Cheshire.
Aw,
that's perfectly fine. Like I said, Cheshire and I are working out something for a financial thing for some other thing that project we got going on. So Chester's going to be taken care of, and like I said, we're hoping to get.
That'll be a nice change.
Yeah, no shit, right? I'm hoping, I said, I'm hoping to get Bullinator on board, but we haven't talked to Bullinator yet. Bullinator's has his own things he's been dealing with, and I just think it wasn't the right time yet because I want to make sure Bullinator's okay.
Apparently, I pronounced it right.
Yay!
Points for me. Yeah. What are these points worth? Nothing.
Yeah.
But am I happy about it? Absolutely.
Yay!
I find it depressing to know that G-Man has received money for appearing on Non Sequitur show than Steve has.
$10, yeah, this is true. That is a fact. G-Man got paid more than I did for a year and a half because he made $10. Although technically he got that from GE, not Kyle.
Yeah, but he got it because he appeared on.
This is true. This is true. Okay, fair enough. Godless Scummer, you're right. He got more for an appearance fee than I did. Yeah.
He still didn't get paid by Kyle, but you know. Bjorn, sex 250. I was word limited, so here's the rest. Oh. Usually discussions circle the topic, but no one sees the goal. Chesh, please never stop being the listener and keep being the voice of reason. Yeah. I will do my best. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I will give her that one too, Bjorn.
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 Yeah, Bjorn. There you go. Bjorn. Yeah.
There, we got it. We sorted it out.
Yeah. And probably will come in handy with Cheshire right now because I know she's in the process of moving, like she said. So that will give her some.
I've got a lot of stuff going on in the background. Hopefully, I'll be able to fill you guys in once it's all actually dealt with. Maybe next week. Maybe the week after.
And see, here's the thing. You know what's funny with the super chat? You don't get paid until a month later, right? But I make sure that Cheshire is taken care of like that month or that day or whatever. I mean, I don't even need to have to wait a month for it to come in like some people do. I have a slush fund that I keep for this kind of shit. It's not very much, but
Copernicus for $3 US says Kyle penalty having to listen to Orphan Red 24/7. Ooh, for how long though? That's a little cruel.
I could look at Orphan Red for a while. Just when I listen to her, it just bad. Yeah.
All right, is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it. Wow, we actually made it in 2 hours.
A lot today. Whew.
I feel like worn out, man. So after having all that sex come in, this kind of wore me out.
Right.
So
you gotta build up that stamina. You gotta practice.
I'm way out of practice. People know this. But I appreciate you guys listening to this. Like I said, we do these every Monday. It's just to let you guys know what's going on in the community. People have been liking it. I know Anti-Ordinary's thrilled. It's like the only show she watches. Good for her.
Spilling the tea. Spilling the tea.
Spilling the tea, baby.
We're gonna have to make an opening that is just like both me and you on screen, and we're both just like, ah, shit.
Spilling the tea.
That's just the opening.
Well, I like the fact that this is not a talking shit thing. This is not drama. This is actually what's going on in the community. I try to be, just to give you guys the facts, objective facts, my evaluation. Jess gives her evaluation. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that it actually does suss out a lot of the stuff that's going on, because if not, what happens is these things go out of control. They get to the point where they're no longer even understandable and drama. And I want to not have that.
It's almost impossible for anybody to find and follow these threads because they're on Twitter, because they are so complicated, and I am working on a system that will be able to essentially capture all of this and essentially put it all into a library that will actually be easy to follow, but I'm still working on the formatting, and it's a lot of resources and a lot of time. So I'm working on it. I'm trying to make it so that way when we do talk about something like this, the thread will be linkable and you'll just be able to follow it. It'll probably be in some kind of flowchart document. Hopefully I'll be able to figure something out, but I am working on it in the background, I promise. So as much as we do try to give you as best of context as we can, hopefully I will be able to provide you guys with not only a link to the thread, but a way to actually follow the thread proper.
Yeah, we're trying to get organized, and that's what she's saying. But shout out to...
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Oh, people, like I said, when Gary says, well, get a job, Steve, people don't know how many hours did we spend last night even preparing for the show? People don't realize that you have to discuss with your partner and your co-host and get data whenever you do these types of shows. This is actually a lot more intricate show than just our like a rum and coke night where we just kind of go hang out and talk about stuff. We do plan on what we're going to discuss, and we actually go find the stuff that we're going to talk about.
The links and the screenshots. Like you said, we want to make sure that we're not taking anybody out of context.
Yeah. And it gives people something to look forward to.
Taking people out of screenshots 101.
Yeah, and it's so funny because people do this to me all the time. They'll see one thing that I've said and they'll take it completely out of context or not related to anything else and run with this narrative rather than one asking me about it. Well, mostly because these people can't talk to me because they're trolls and I want nothing to do with them. But they think they're so in the right. They're like, well, look what Steve said, and everybody's trying to explain to them, people, that's already been explained 90,000 times, 6 ways to Sunday. Now you're just looking stupid. But this is what I see often.
This kind of gives us a way when we've been, and other people who have been deplatformed and who are being misrepresented. Like we're not taking any of these tweets, like Gary's tweets, out of context because we don't need to spin some kind of narrative. This is what he said. This is what we're laughing about it. It's funny. That's
basically in a nutshell. But I do want to give a shout out to In Time. That would be Nick and Ansgar. Odinson. They're doing a very high-end, well-researched show on Tuesdays.
Yeah, I believe Arnsgar's and Sean's things are both still open, so if you would like to donate to them, those are both available.
There you go. I know Ansgar has a fundraiser. Sean has a fundraiser. I've donated to both of them, matter of fact. I believe in giving back, and I've donated to a lot of charities and donations and things in the last couple months because I actually had money coming in to do so. So I do think that we should help other people.
Yep.
But we are going to be having a lot more to do with a lot of other channels. We have a lot of things in the works. We spent hours in communication the other day talking about stuff. Just bear with us because we have to wait for certain things to get resolved. It's going to take another month or so to really reach some kind of resolution, but it will happen. It will happen. And I appreciate everybody who's been sticking by and that made this particular show popular. Because this is like our 6th episode or something like that, and it's already taken off. 360 people. I think we had like 350 a peak or something like that. Watch. And it's a Monday morning too. I don't know. Don't you people have like work that you go to or something? Because the Pacific time is only noon.
Probably at work, to be honest. I would be at work listening to this.
And I like that actually. I used to listen to stuff at work too. It makes the day go by faster. So when people tell me that, I'm thrilled with that.
The video about Sean, by the way, for anybody who's unaware.
Steve, this is not all for. Sorry. You want to read that one? God's auditor.
Steve, this is not at all for Chesh. I am not allowed to give Canadians gifts, so by no means should you give this to her.
We'll take care of Chesh. Trust me.
Yay!
Yay!
The goblin. I will be safe in my trash can.
But you know me, I'm just greedy grifter that wants everything. Damn it.
I do believe I've also got all these links listed. So what I'll do is I'll label them, send them to Steve, so all of them will be available in the description.
Somebody points out it's a good time for Europeans, and by the way, I had Europeans.
Yes, it is. That was purposeful.
I had Europeans message me, and they were telling me, Steve, you keep saying you're going to do shows for us. Where are they? Well, this is one of the reasons why having this particular show in the mornings is for UK.
Yep.
Honestly, it was more like a coffee time, caffeine corner tea time thing. I know I have a big audience over in the UK, so I think that this was perfect for them because we do other shit for the Pacific people, right? I mean, we have Rim and Coke, we have the science shows. But this one, we decided we want to have in the morning because the UK people could watch it, even if the Pacific Coast were probably busy at the time. So, but all right, Chesh, you want to wrap it up for us? Got anything?
Yeah. We're good. Oh my god, there was so much this week. And it's gonna get worse for a little while. I think we're gonna see a lot more of this kind of stuff going on until legal is over. Because I'm sure we'll probably do a caffeine corner just on that at some point, just being like, okay, so here's what's happened.
Yeah. The dam will bust open. Trust me. Yeah.
Yeah, and so then there's so more will come out with that, and that should be coming up soon, if I'm not mistaken. But hey, what do I know?
Sometime in the very near future.
I'm just a cheerleading cow. What the fuck do I know about anything?
I do want to say real quick, GE and KC and Jimmy. You three are literally the lone holdouts, destroying your own reputations, and I'm thrilled to death for this. I've offered, Mr. Atheist to try to fix this shit. He just refused to. KC and GE, I don't really care about at all, but I'm just letting them know it's going to get much worse. This is my promise to you. This is not. By the way, this is not a call to anybody. Do not harass anybody. I will just remove you from my circles. I do not want anybody to harass anybody, but I will be in the next month going after them with so much more information because I will be releasing things that have not been released, and they were going to look like complete idiots, even though they already do look like complete idiots. So I gave them ample opportunities to fix their shit. They didn't. So. Oh,
there is definitely an open letter that's still around. You might be able to respond to that.
Oh, it's too late for Jimmy. Even if he responded to it, I'm not going to forgive him.
Well,
but,
yeah, I mean, he kind of spit on.
He could save his reputation from his fans, maybe. That's the best he could do.
But other people could.
Other people could, sure.
Respond to that one.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, good night. I don't know what the hell we got planned this week.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and good morning. Happy zone, whatever time zone you're in.
Good night, morning, afternoon.